What's up, y'all? It's your boy JTMM, aka JustTenMoreMinutes, aka the Freaking 10. Now, this is a song that's actually been requested for a while with Rise of Evil. And I believe it's about the rise of Hitler itself. And so when I did Lady of Darkness on Saturday, I was thinking, you know, I have jumped around a lot, but I really didn't go back to kind of the start of these wars with this one being Rise of Evil. And so I said, you know what? It being Monday, what a way to start the week than to start with the Rise of Evil. I think it has a history, so we'll continue with that. And then, you know, I'll take a look and see what happens on Wednesday. I'm not quite sure yet, but I'm going to be recording a lot this week and next week to build up, you know, probably a month's worth of content so that I can get to things like the live sessions where we can do some live story writing and songwriting and just have some fun together that we haven't been able to do live yet. Obviously, we have in the comment section. So I'm interested to see how they build this up in the rise of Hitler. It's an interesting topic, you know, of just an insane individual. So I'm curious to see how they do it. Let's switch it up. Let's take a listen. Okay. Oh, that's dark and dirty. Okay, so I'm gonna stop here for a second because I've said in the past how I don't like the long intros like this. But here's why it works. I think. Now, I already know what this is about, being the rise of Hitler. So by knowing that, hearing this darker tone and this just dirty and nasty beat and riff fits. I'm trying to think, if I didn't know what this was about, would it be too long? And I'd probably say yes. But given the context of what it's about and the build-up, it fits perfectly. That was nice. That'll, yes. I can't do it as well as he can. Yeah, that's a nice little curve up. Just again, dirty and nasty. A nation in despair, weakened by war, defeated, lost their pride in Versailles. A former prisoner with a vision or delusion, rise to power in the Reich. Rebuilding an army, make the nation proud, disregarding the treaty, secret plans for Lebensraum. Start the Holocaust. The Reich will rise. Propaganda, the Reich will rise to last 1,000 years. You know, it's fascinating because I'd never really thought about it coming from, right, you know, lost their pride in Versailles and rebuilding an army and making a nation proud. If you take out the grand delusion and where Hitler went, I think about rebuilding an army and making a nation proud. And I don't know. I mean, you know, we obviously saw there was a lot of stuff that went on. I don't know the history as well. But I think, you know, from losing the pride in Versailles to rebuilding an army and rebuilding a nation like that, I think if he would have stopped there, without going into the Holocaust and without going, you know, just this grand delusion of this war, could his leadership have been seen differently? And those are big ifs. The guy, I'm not saying he was a grand leader, but I look at when he rebuilt an army and rebuilt the nation to be proud. Could you say up to that point that he accomplished what he wanted from being a good leader to rebuild it like that? Because after that point, excuse me, my mind can't even fathom what was going through this dude's mind with what he ended up doing. But I'm trying to separate it in the sense of the song to say, rebuilding an army, making the nation proud, right? With a vision or delusion, but that vision of rebuilding the army and rebuilding the country, if he would have stopped there, how would he be viewed today? Again, big words of if, because obviously we know what he went on to do. The dude was a mental case. Because I have a huge problem with that. But that's a different story. Let's keep going. Beat fits this.
Burning books to spread anti-Semite propaganda. Who will stop the madman's reign? Night of broken glass, send the Jews to Dachau death camp. On a path to certain death. The Anschluss completed. On the brink of war, act brutal with no pity, be harsh, show no remorse. Stop the war machine, the right will rise. Propaganda, the right will rise.
We gonna do it again?
Lost 1,000 years.
Okay. Interesting. So here's what I'm picturing, because I'm thinking of modern day Sabaton, where their songs are just they flow so cleanly and flow. Where this one is so, I don't want to use the term disorienting, but they bounce around lyrically from the sense of there's no flow. But that's not a bad thing, because it's talking about Hitler and just the bipolarness, if I could say that without getting slammed, of just the actions. And so the song fits the man, if that makes sense. Because it when you think about the rise of evil, right, and you think about his rise, this slow and nasty build that they're doing with each of the verse, it's not like they're speeding along through the song. This is a slow build, a slow rise. And it's just, it fits the song. Because normally by this point, the ADHD in me would have been like, okay, guys, come on, speed it along. But it really fits the song and fits the man they're talking about. It's just, it's interesting that they did it this way. Burning books to spread anti-Semite propaganda. Who will stop the madman's reigns? Night of broken glass, send the Jews to Dachau death camp on a path of certain death. The Angelus completed on a brink of war, actual brutal with no pity. Be harsh, show no remorse, start the war machine. The Reich will rise, propaganda, the Reich will rise to last 1,000 years. Just, it's so interesting. And the only reason I know the term Dachau is, and I know I can't get that hard like the CH, is I'm a huge fan of old time radio, and there's an episode of Mars to Heaven from Ray Bradbury Theater, and one of the characters was from the Dachau concentration camp, and he talks about it in that episode. That's the only reason I know it. Very fascinating old time radio show, Mars is Heaven. Brilliant concept by Ray Bradbury. This song, at 8 minutes, you would almost feel like it's dragging on, but there's such a build to it. So well done. So dirty with that riff. Nice vocal. Oh, I love that right there. I love that.
I see a heat rising. The rise of evil.
Oh. It really sounds like the footsteps of the soldiers, as you've seen the videos of the, you know, them marching, and that's exactly what that sounds like, is those footsteps. That's just dirty. Okay, so I'm going to give you my honest opinion of this. Because what's going through my head right now is my heart and my brain are having an argument, okay? Because my brain says that was way too long, that there were too many riffs in between verses, and this song at 8 minutes and 19 seconds probably could have been 6 minutes. And my heart's going, no, because if you think about a rise, and you think about a slow build, and you think about all of the points that they're trying to get across with this, you can't do that in that short period of time, and it needs to be a little bit longer. So that's what's going on in my head right now. There's a true battle of, was this too long versus was this just right? And I don't know what side to pick, because there's points in the song where they're repeating that riff that I really felt like they didn't necessarily have to where they could have used the vocals to emphasize the point. On the flip side of it, a rise, you think about this rise, and that's what it felt like they were doing in the whole song, is building it up to where you're at with this rise. I'm struggling with this one, not in a bad way, but it's like, was it too long? Was it perfect? Was it too long? Yeah. Because it built exactly what it wanted to do. And the history is going to be fascinating. I'm looking forward to that, because I never really looked at it from his history as much as everybody talks about the history of the war and how it started, but never really about his history and his rise to power. I never knew. I mean, it says right here, right? A former prisoner with a vision or delusion. Never knew that. No, I never really looked into it. In the last days of peace, Europe holding its breath, an invasion is coming, but when will it start? Who will be the first to fall? Who will be the last to stand? Who will stop all this madness that has consequences no man understand? That was a really cool, and I'm glad I reread that, because that was one that I thought was a really cool play on words. Who will stop all this madness that has consequences no man understand? Because when you talk about that first line of who will be the first to fall, who will be the last to stand, and then he goes in and emphasizes madness with consequences, and then stand to understand. And so it was a nice little rhyme and play with madness, consequences, and stand to where it really flowed really well. That was one line that really stood out to me, that really well done, well written. I do want to see this history, and I'm not going to play the button because he doesn't deserve the Morgan Freeman voice, because the dude was delusional as hell. But this definitely has me fascinated to learn how that rise happened. Because part of me on the raw side of it says, wow, well, yeah, he accomplished what he wanted in rebuilding a nation and getting it back to a point of pride. And I don't know that you can ignore that with how he then became just an evil ass bastard that deserved to be removed from this earth. But that part is fascinating to me from a psychological standpoint of that rise. Yeah, I want to see the history. So we will watch that. I'll probably actually record that later today. I've got more songs to do. And starting late this morning, obviously, you're going to see these rolling out as I record and then upload and then schedule them. I definitely do like getting up early. I can't do the late thing. It throws me off of my schedule. But this one's fascinating. I don't know how I feel about it, though. Let me know in the comments what y'all think. Too long? Could they have compressed it down, or do you think it was just right with all of the different riffs and the continuing repetitive riffs that it gave that more of that rise feeling? Let me know in the comments section. That's going to do it for this one. Y'all know who I am, what I'm about. Like, subscribe, and share. I'm JTMM. I'm out.